For 12 years, I cooked, cleaned, decorated, and hosted Thanksgiving for over 40 relatives. My sister? She showed up with a store-bought pie and soaked in the praise like she was the queen of hospitality. This year, I vanished. No turkey. No table. Just an empty house and a cruise ticket to Mexico. When they arrived expecting a feast, they got silence. And when I came back, everything changed. If you've ever felt taken for granted, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in because this isn't just a tale of revenge. It's a reckoning. One that took 12 years to cook and just one cruise to serve. I used to think love meant sacrifice. That if you gave enough, smiled enough, worked hard enough, people would see you, appreciate you, maybe even love you back the way you loved them. Turns out, love can be blind. Especially when it's buried under casseroles, cranberry sauce, and the clinking of dishes no one else offers to wash. For 12 years, I hosted Thanksgiving. Not just for my immediate family, but for my extended clan. 43 people, to be exact. Cousins, aunts, uncles, in-laws, outlaws. Every year, they descended on my home like a swarm of hungry locusts. And every year, I welcomed them with open arms and a table that groaned under the weight of my effort. I planned the menu months in advance. I scrubbed my house until the baseboards gleamed. I roasted turkeys, baked bread, whipped mashed potatoes, and made pies from scratch. I even learned how to make gluten-free stuffing for my cousin's wife, who never once said thank you. And my sister? She brought one pie. Store-bought. Always the same, pecan with that glossy, artificial sheen. She'd waltz in wearing heels and perfume, kiss cheeks and announce, "I brought dessert," like she'd just saved the day. Then she'd sit, smile, sip tea, and bask in compliments. "Oh, this is amazing, Rachel." Aunt Linda would gush. "You really outdid yourself again." Rachel. Not me. Not the one who'd been up since 4 a.m. Not the one whose hands were raw from scrubbing pans. Not the one who'd spent over $12,000 across 12 years to make these holidays happen. Rachel got the credit. I got the cleanup. It wasn't just the misattribution. It was the way she leaned into it. She never corrected anyone. Never said, "Actually, my sister did all this." No. She'd smile, nod, and say, "I'm so glad you enjoyed it." I tried to speak up once. Year 6. I said, "Actually, I made the turkey and sides." Rachel laughed. "Oh, come on, we're a team." A team. That's rich. I started keeping receipts. Not just financial ones, emotional ones. The time my oven broke and I cried in the garage so no one would see. The year I had the flu and still cooked for 40. The moment I realized my own kids didn't know I hated hosting. Because I never said no. Because I thought saying no meant I didn't love them. But love isn't servitude. And gratitude shouldn't be optional. The final straw came last year. Thanksgiving number 12. I had just finished setting the table, gold-trimmed plates, cloth napkins, name cards, the works. Rachel arrived, late as usual, holding her pie like a trophy. She walked in, looked around, and said, "Wow, you really went all out. Again." Then she turned to our cousin and whispered, "I told her less is more, but she never listens." I heard it. I felt it, like a slap made of words. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My body ached. My heart ached more. I thought about the hours I'd spent, the money I'd burned, the dignity I'd swallowed. And I made a decision. Next year, I wouldn't be here. The idea of skipping Thanksgiving felt like a rebellion. A quiet, personal revolution. But ideas are easy. Execution? That's where the ghosts of guilt come to haunt you. I spent the first few months convincing myself it was okay. That I deserved a break. That 12 years of service earned me 1 year of silence. But guilt is a persistent whisper. It crept in during grocery runs when I passed the aisle with canned cranberries. It tugged at me when I saw autumn wreaths in store windows. It screamed when my youngest asked, "What are we making for Thanksgiving this year?" I smiled and said, "We're doing something different." Different. That word felt like freedom and fear wrapped in one. Rachel called in October. Hey, just checking. Are we doing the usual this year? I paused. Actually, no. I'm not hosting this time. Silence. Then laughter. Wait, what? You're kidding. I'm not. But where will everyone go? I don't know. You can't just not host. It's tradition. No, Rachel. It's habit. And I'm breaking it.
She scoffed.
Well, I guess I'll figure something out.
Click.
That call left me shaking. Not because I was scared of Rachel, but because I realized how deeply entrenched I'd been in this role. Like a cog in a machine I didn't build but kept running anyway. I booked the cruise the next day. 7 nights. Mexico. Ocean view. No cell service. No casseroles. I didn't tell anyone else. Not my cousins. Not my aunts. Not even my kids until 2 weeks before. My oldest, Jenna, blinked. Wait, we're not doing Thanksgiving? We're doing it differently, I said. We're going on a cruise. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. But what about everyone else? They'll figure it out. But they always come here. Exactly. She didn't speak for a full minute. Then she whispered, Good. That one word cracked something open in me. A dam of resentment I didn't know she'd been holding. Turns out my kids had noticed. The stress. The exhaustion. The way I disappeared into the kitchen every year while others laughed in the living room. They hadn't said anything because they thought I loved it. I didn't. The week before Thanksgiving, Rachel texted, Still not hosting? I told everyone it's at your place. I replied, I won't be home.
She didn't respond.
I imagined her face. The confusion. The panic. The realization that her annual performance would have no stage. Thanksgiving morning, I was on a deck chair sipping pineapple juice while the sun kissed my skin. No apron. No oven. Just waves and wind. I didn't check my phone. I didn't want to know. But I imagined it.
Cars pulling into my driveway.
Confused faces. Knock after unanswered knock. Rachel trying to explain. Trying to pivot. Trying to salvage her image. I imagined the chaos. The disappointment. The anger. And I felt nothing. No guilt. No shame. Just peace. That night, I danced with my kids under string lights while a mariachi band played. I laughed harder than I had in years. I slept without waking up to a mental checklist. I breathed. When we returned, my voicemail was full. My inbox flooded. Some messages were angry. Some confused. Some concerned. Rachel hadn't hosted. She tried to redirect everyone to a cousin's house, but it was too late. No one had prepared. No one had cooked. They'd all assumed I'd do what I always did. And I hadn't. I didn't respond to any messages. I let silence speak for me. Then Rachel showed up. She stood on my porch holding that same store-bought pie. Her eyes were puffy. Her voice was small. I didn't know what to do, she said. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. I told them it was at your place. I thought you were joking. I wasn't. She looked down. They were mad. At me.
At you.
At everyone. I nodded. I'm sure. I didn't mean to take credit all those years. I didn't think.
No, you didn't.
She swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I want to help next time. Really help. Not just bring a pie. I studied her face. For the first time, I saw cracks. Not the polished mask she wore every year, but the woman underneath. The one who'd coasted on my effort and finally hit a wall. I'm not hosting anymore, I said. But if you want to plan something together, we can. She nodded. Okay. After Rachel's apology, things didn't magically fix themselves. Apologies are words. Healing is work. I didn't trust her. Not yet. I'd seen her perform too many times, smiling for the crowd, curating her image like a social media feed. I needed proof. Not just that she was sorry, but that she understood what she'd done. So I waited. Christmas came. She offered to host. I declined. New Year's? She suggested a joint party. I said no. I wasn't being petty. I was protecting my peace. I'd spent 12 years giving without boundaries. Now I was learning to say no without guilt. But Rachel didn't give up. In February, she invited me to lunch. Just us. No cousins. No chaos. We sat at a quiet cafe. She looked nervous. Real nervous. Not the kind you fake when you're trying to look humble. "I've been thinking," she said, "about Thanksgiving. About everything." I nodded, letting her speak. "I didn't realize how much you did. I mean, I knew you cooked, but I didn't get it. Not really." I raised an eyebrow. "And now?" "I tried hosting a birthday dinner for 12 people last month. I was exhausted. And that was just 12. I sipped my tea. 43 is a different beast." She laughed, but it was hollow. "I don't know how you did it." "I didn't. Not really. I survived it." She leaned forward. "I want to make it right. Not just say sorry. I want to host next Thanksgiving. Fully. And I want you to help me plan it." I tilted my head. "You want me to help you host?"
No.
"I want to host. But I want to do it right. I want to learn." That was the turning point. Not because she asked for help, but because she asked to learn. So I agreed. Slowly. Cautiously. We started in July. I gave her my old spreadsheets, guest lists, dietary restrictions, timelines. She was stunned. "You plan this like a wedding," she said. Because it felt like one. Every year. She started calling vendors. Ordering rentals. Testing recipes. She burned a turkey in August and cried. I didn't laugh. I just handed her a towel and said, "Welcome to the club." We met weekly. She took notes. She asked questions. She didn't pretend to know everything. For the first time, Rachel was real. But I didn't let her off the hook. I made her do the math. Add up the costs. The hours. The emotional toll. She looked at the final number, $12, for 87 over 12 years and whispered, "I owe you." I shook my head. "You don't owe me money. You owe me respect." She nodded. "I get that now." By October, she was ready. She had a menu, a plan, a team. She even hired help for cleanup. Then she did something I didn't expect. She sent out invitations. Real ones. Printed. And at the bottom, in bold letters, it said, "Hosted by Rachel, with deep gratitude to my sister, who taught me what love looks like." I stared at that line for a long time. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't vindication. It was recognition. And it meant more than any apology ever could. Thanksgiving morning arrived like a quiet sunrise, soft, slow, and surreal. I woke up to the smell of cinnamon and roasted squash. Not from my kitchen, but from Rachel's. She'd started cooking at 5 a.m., just like I used to. I didn't offer to help.
She didn't ask.
That was the deal. I walked over around noon. Her house was transformed. Tablecloths, centerpieces, name cards. Even the lighting felt intentional, warm, inviting, like a hug in bulb form. She greeted me at the door with flour on her cheek and panic in her eyes. "I forgot to defrost the second turkey," she whispered. I smiled. "Welcome to the battlefield." She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that comes with tears behind it. I handed her a backup plan, my old recipe for turkey breast in a pressure cooker. She hugged me.
Tight.
Guests started arriving around 2. Cousins, aunts, uncles. The usual swarm. But this time, something was different. They looked confused. "Wait, this isn't at your place?"
Uncle Ron asked.
"Nope," I said. "Rachel's hosting." He blinked. "Really?" Rachel stepped in.
Yes.
I wanted to give my sister a break. She's done so much for us over the years. That sentence hung in the air like incense.
Sweet.
Unexpected. Reverent.
People nodded.
Murmured. Some looked embarrassed. Dinner was served at 5. Rachel stood at the head of the table and gave a speech. "I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to thank my sister for 12 years of love, labor, and leadership. I didn't see it before, but I do now." She raised her glass. "To the woman who made Thanksgiving what it was and taught me what it could be." Everyone clapped. I didn't cry. But my heart did something close. The food was good. Not perfect. The stuffing was dry. The pie was burnt. But the effort? That was flawless. After dinner, Rachel cleaned. She didn't delegate. She didn't disappear. She scrubbed pans, packed leftovers, and wiped counters while humming. I sat on the couch, sipping tea, watching her. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years.
Scene.
The fallout came slowly. Not dramatic. Just subtle shifts. Aunt Linda called me the next day. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I never realized how much you did." Cousin Mark sent a card. "Thanks for 12 years of magic. Sorry it took me this long to say it. Even my kids noticed." "Mom," Jenna said, "you looked happy last night." I said. "I am." Rachel and I started planning together after that. Not just holidays, birthdays, reunions, even a summer barbecue. She didn't just show up anymore. She showed up prepared. We became a team. A real one. But I never hosted Thanksgiving again. That chapter was closed. Not out of bitterness, but out of balance. I'd given enough. Now I received. And every year, when I walk into Rachel's house and see the table set, the food steaming, and the guests laughing, I smile. Because justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it tastes like burnt pie and redemption. I didn't skip Thanksgiving to punish anyone. I did it to reclaim myself. To remind the people I loved that love isn't free. It's earned, nurtured, and reciprocated. Rachel changed. Our family changed. And most importantly, I changed. I learned that boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges. That saying no can be the most loving thing you do. And that sometimes the loudest revenge is silence. So if you're out there, drowning in unspoken resentment, remember this. You don't have to burn yourself to keep others warm. Step back. Speak up. And let the empty house speak for itself. If this story hit home, drop a comment below. Have you ever been taken for granted? What did you do to reclaim your worth? Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because justice isn't just about revenge. It's about respect.